What is the single most you'll understand it when you're older thing? Friendships fading away. I remember my dad telling me all kinds of cool stories about things him and his friends did in the past. I even asked him, why aren't you still friends with these people? He really did basically say, it's complicated, you'll understand when you're older. Even back then I remember thinking, that's crazy, me and my friends will always be friends. Sitting here now in my early 30s and it really hits home. Losing best friends is the hardest. Not everybody is going to like you, even if you're a good person. This one really set my mind free once I took it to heart. I actually like when people at work, for example, act like they hate you when they haven't even had a conversation with you. When someone doesn't like you, you don't need to worry about what they think or feel anymore. Fuck 'em. Less energy spent. The quiet, boring, simple times are the best. Everyone's fed, happy, healthy, chill, napping. These are the good times. Sleep is no punishment, it's a gift. If the door is closed, you should always knock. Money. There was a reason that you didn't get those shoes, the PS5, a new shiny car, etc. Maintaining a home and keeping the family fed is fucking expensive. King Triton, Ariel's dad was right. She was just a child and she was not in love with the random prince she saw for all of 30 seconds. Honestly, this is a great example of what's wrong with parent-child interactions, because when we were kids, we did agree with Ariel. We were persuaded by her emotions and saw her desires as our own. As adults, we have a fully developed brain, hopefully, and more life experience, and therefore we aren't convinced by the ephemeral, but intense emotions that kids, teenagers have. But rather than validating Ariel's feelings, interests, and desires, Triton's basically like, you're wrong for feeling that way. And also, I'm going to destroy your room. Which actually happens. Parents actually do that and are then surprised when the kid turns to the only validating adult in the room, who just might be a soul-stealing witch. I really like revisiting media as an adult, not only to see how my sympathies have changed, but also to make sure that I'm not the adult who is perpetuating the conflict by not listening. Because as an adult, I expect better from myself. Wasting time, and how time flies. It's mid-December and I'm saying to myself, what the heck, it's been 9 months of COVID and I can't believe this year is almost over. As you age it seems to go faster and faster. When I was younger I felt like time just dragged on some days. I can remember when I was school age, the year seemed to drag on forever, then when it did end we had the 6 weeks holidays. 6 whole weeks. With hour upon hour of sunshine, towards the end of it school was but a distant memory. It felt like it would never end. Of course it always did when September finally arrived. Now I work at a school and it's terrifying how quickly we blaze through each term. Those same holidays are over in a flash. I think it's because now I'm older I'm consciously worried about making the most of the time off, not wasting it. When I was young the biggest worry was whether my friends and I would play in the woods or on the fell that day. Time wasn't a worry, we thought we had all the time in the world. Literally getting older. Never thought much about when adults would say you're still young, just enjoy it. I always wanted to be older because I was tired of high school, wanted to be out of college, etc. Now I want aging to slow down a bit. Can we get McDonald's? No, we have food at home. My significant other is in his 30s and I still have to tell him that. Lol. It is possible to do everything right and still fail. Don't let it consume you. Pick up the pieces and move on. I had to learn this after a project that I was on for 3 years was sabotaged and shit-canned. I did some amazing work, and poured my life into that project. In the end I had nothing to show for it. It put me in a real slump for a few years. I'm still trying to pull myself out of it without becoming a cynical and jaded asshole. The sound of your joints exploding every time you get up. Man, I've been getting that since I was in high school. Something a little more light-hearted, but about half the jokes on cartoons like SpongeBob take on a whole new light once you've got more experience under your belt. You either die a SpongeBob or live long enough to become a Squidward. Time off. Working crazy hours in my early 20s was nice because I had a lot of money, but as I became older and more involved with my now fiancé and my friends, I realized that there's a balance. This drove me to look for a job with a little less pay but far better hours, and now I'm happy. Don't work like a slave, you'll miss a lot of good things in life. Good people aren't always nice people, and vice versa. What parents sacrifice just so you can do something fun? Last night my husband and I sat in a line of cars for an hour and a half so our kids could see this cheesy drive-through light display in my town with Santa and other characters. 0-10 not worth it for us, but the kids loved it, and it was worth it to see them be able to do a fun Christmas activity during a pandemic. It made me think of how much my parents had to endure taking my brother and I to theme parks and stuff as a kid just to see us happy. I appreciate it infinitely more now. Socks are a very nice gift. Why elderly people in nursing homes who get no visitors are so lonely and filled with despair. Some of them you feel pretty bad for, until you realize that they were not nice people when they were young. Edit. You can downvote me, but it's true. I worked in geriatrics for 30 years. Teenagers are just kids. It's something I quite literally was not capable of understanding until I wasn't a teenager anymore. When I was a teenager I felt so grown up. That the quality rather than quantity of friends matters. A parent's love for their child. A year after my granddaughter was born, my daughter was telling me how wonderful her toddler is, how smart she is, and just all around lovable she is. She then said, "I don't think I could ever love anyone as much as I love my daughter." Then she paused for a moment as realization washed over her face. "Dad, is this how much you love me?" Bingo, kiddo. Now you know. And how the opposite is true for those who had abusive parents. I read something once that really stuck with me. People with loving parents realize how much their parents loved them once they have their own children. People with abusive parents realize just how cruel and fucked up their own childhood was and struggle with the realization that their parents could be that cruel to a child once they have their own kids. You rationalize the abuse away for years. Then you catch a glimpse of how truly vulnerable and innocent you were as a child, and it's a whole new perspective on your experience. If you're one of those kids with abusive parents, becoming a parent yourself can really set you back, even if you feel like you've dealt with your demons. Understanding why your parents wanted you to go play with the awkward kid, or why they were so keen to help you make friends. It's beyond annoying as a kid when your parents try to guide who make friends with, but most parents instinctually know that bad social habits start early, are hard to break, and can be a real burden when you are older. Learning to live through loneliness as a child is a gift. How many people have a kid thinking it's going to fix their relationship? High school drama isn't important. Like, at all. Chasing orgasms gets old. You really want to spend your time with someone you like talking to. You don't have to be happy all the time. When I was a kid, I watched my mom and dad refuse to let my grandparents pay for something or pay them back for something. I thought that was silly as a kid and said I wouldn't do that. But as an adult, I find myself always doing this same thing I said I never would. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment below.